Hey guys, this is going to be part 2 on my little 3-phase series. You see I got me a variable frequency drive. This is rated for 5 horsepower, the same as this motor, but the thing with frequency drives is if you need to run a 5 horsepower at full load, you want probably a 7.5 or a 10 just to make sure you got it covered. But for what we're doing here, this is more than enough. I probably could get by with a 3, but I just wanted to make sure I had at least enough power to start the motor and stop it. But we're going to show you the little base I got set up first and the wiring, and go from there. I want to briefly talk about some of the settings because a lot of them are different and everything. This is my second take when making this video. The first time I never uploaded it, but I went into way too much detail and it had probably been like 30 minutes long, so we're going to try to keep this between 10, 15, 20 minutes, something like that, and go from there. I don't want to go into too much detail and bore you, but I want to show you what this thing can do too. So let's look at the wiring first and go from there. Okay, so look at the wiring first. This is going to show you what I call the right and wrong way of doing crimp terminals. See inside here, nobody's going to see it except for right now in the video. See how nasty it looks with the yellow part all smashed up and everything? Well, it works fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Just don't look very good. So I took the yellow connectors off here, then crimped the terminal in there, then heat shrinked all of them. Makes it look a lot better, a lot more professional looking, neater and everything. So you see I just ran the wire straight out. I was going to originally put the block long ways, but the power comes in on this side. It was out so everything would be crossed. And I figured, for this setup, the power is going to be coming in on this side all the time and going out on this side, so why not have it like this? A lot neater setup. You see how the ground is here. This is the ground from the grid, I call it, coming in. There's a jumper here for 4 and 5. One going to the inverter and one going to the 3-phase motor. Then the 3 phases, red, white, and black. Now white's not usually a hot wire, but this Carol cable is all you can get. You can't choose your colors, and so I think it'll be fine. I know what it is, but the white is a dedicated neutral or grounded conductor. Green's your grounding or ground, frame ground, what we always call it. Black and red your common hot, so this white should be like a blue or a yellow, something like that. I wouldn't recommend using orange because orange is usually for high leg on a 3-phase system if you have that, so I wouldn't use that just to avoid confusion. But this is a very simple setup and it works. You see on this I actually painted that white wire red coming in on it just to make sure I knew that was a hot wire and not a neutral coming off the 30 amp disconnect. And with everything unhooked, you can see how I kind of labeled it. I might do something better later on, but no, this is my ground for the output, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. This is the output side. Input be 240 across these two here. Middle one's not hooked. And hook the ground from the 240 coming in right here. This is a tie-in block here to jumper the ground over, so the 2 middle terminals is the ground for it. This inverter can actually be used with 3-phase coming in and 3-phase going out, but it can be wired up for 220 single phase going in to convert it to 3-phase power. So you got 2 ways of doing it. And if you notice this green terminal strip at the top here, this is for your control wiring. So you can basically have all these controls remote from it. That's what all this is, and eventually we might experiment with it because you can actually hook a potentiometer, variable resistor, to it and change the frequency that it's running at. So that'd be kind of neat to have set up over here on the side or over here or something. But for right now, we're just going to be using all the controls that's built in on this. We'll go ahead and briefly talk about the controls. You got run, stop, stop, reset, your set, and that's for your menu for doing all your settings. You got forward and reverse, jog, and your up and down, which is mainly for settings and changing the frequency. And first thing, mistake I made with this when I first set it up, it was set for 400 hertz. So I hit the button, that motor started winding up, and by the time I hit the stop button, it was probably running at 200 hertz by the time I got it stopped. But you want to change that to your 50 or 60 hertz, whatever you're going to be running. before you actually start using. I got anxious and just hit the start button to hear the motor come on. But yeah, you want to pay attention to your preset frequency. When you first turn it on, the frequency it's flashing is what it's going to start at. So pay attention to that. I'm going to try to show as much as I can without being boring, so if it gets boring, I apologize. But this is actually very interesting and kind of fun to mess around with. So right now I got it basically set up for what I would call general use, or a light load use. Right now it's running forward lights lit up, and it's spinning clockwise facing the shaft. And I got the braking set to slow that motor down and keep it from coasting for so long. Now I'm going to reverse it. Take off spinning counterclockwise. What I like, if you hit the forward and reverse button while it's running, it's going to ramp down and automatically reverse itself. I think that's pretty neat how it does that. So right now it's set for 60 hertz. You know, you can take this down real low. Let's put it like on 5 or something. It's too low. So right now we're running at 3 hertz. And you got a torque setting in here too, which will help compensate for the low torque right now. It's 14 hertz. You can also set this to read out the RPM of the motor once you program the nameplate. And the nameplate of this one is 1755. 1755 RPM. So if you wanted to simulate like overseas power at 50 hertz, right here is 50 hertz what I'd be running at. And the motor says 1430 would be the nameplate RPM at this frequency. This motor is rated for inverter use or variable frequency drive use, but I don't know the exact specs of how much RPM it'll take. But now we're at 70 hertz. Most I've ever ran that is 120. That's running twice as fast as it's rated. I've never took it past that except for when I first turned it on. We're going to put it back on 60 for right now. But you really want to follow the manufacturer's recommendations on the RPMs before you do that. And there's 2 settings on how to stop the motor. Right now it's set for DC braking. So if you go to your parameters here, parameter 6. Right now it's set on 2. If you set this one 1, it's going to start the same. I got it set just starting at 60 hertz. Now if you hit the stop, it just cuts out and that motor's going to coast. It's not going to have no DC braking. So we're just going to let that go, give you an idea of how long it'll take. But you got all kinds of settings. You can adjust the ramp up, the ramp down, and you got the multi-segment, you get torque compensation. There's all kinds of settings. Be sure to read your book that comes with it to make sure you're not going to damage your motor or anything. So the next thing I want to talk about is the ramp up. To give you an idea, that's ridiculous how long it takes to stop that. So we'll go ahead and set that back on 2 for the DC braking. And if you go to parameter 9, I got that set for 50. That's the deceleration time. That's actually the default setting. And for no load, it seems to be doing pretty good. But if you have a load on it, we'll try to simulate what will happen. Set it real low. It'll actually overload and kick itself out because it'll be pulling too much current. I think last time I tried, I set it on 10. But if you're using, we'll set it on 8. If you use the torque compensation, you really got to pay attention to this too, because it really hits hard. Alright, that start with just straight 60 hertz. it actually did alright there, so let me take it down just a little bit more to show you what an overload will do. Put on like 2. Still starting the same. It'll probably just kick itself right out. See, it overloaded and kicked itself out. You still start it. I tried to, but just too much for it. So if you get a real heavy load, you may not be able to do the DC braking. It just depends on your setup. I'm going to put this back on 50. It seems to be a good default setting. It's what it came set at. Okay, so the parameter 8 is your acceleration time. Right now I got it set as low as it'll go, 0.01. Let me put it on the default setting, which is 50 as well. This is your ramp up speed. So if you got a heavy load or something you don't want the motor starting at full torque, this is where you control how fast it starts, going from 0 to 60 hertz. And real handy too. So set it on 50 here. That's the default setting. It actually works pretty good too. So now when I hit the start, it's going to start at 0, and you're going to see all these numbers move to 60. I know you probably can't hardly read this one there, but and it ramps down to the same speed. Now when you hit the reverse, it's going to ramp down and ramp up in the reverse direction. Like a soft start. You notice the motor didn't thump or nothing when the reverse hit. You can actually stop this before it ramps all the way up as well. You like if it started? So yeah, let's go ahead and stop. Now it's going to ramp back down from that point. Now I'm going to go ahead and set the acceleration time for back down because I like the motor starting fast. But again, it depends on what all the settings you have on it. If you get a real heavy load, you're going to want that deceleration time pretty high, where it might take 3 minutes to stop it. Same as starting. Like if there's a big massive wheel that this motor is going to be spinning or something, you want it to ramp up from 0 to 60 hertz in like 3 or 4 minutes or something. You know, it just depends on the application. Okay, so now we'll talk about the torque setting, torque compensation. And this is a very cautious setting. You can actually damage the motor or a piece of equipment hooked to it, because this will basically controls how much torque the motor has. And so right now it's going to hit hard when it starts. See how much faster it started? Now I got it set for DC braking, but it's probably going to kick itself out because it's going to try to hit hard, especially towards the end. See how much vibration? See, overcurrent. So let's turn that setting off to avoid that from happening, just so I can give you an idea more what this setting is doing. Now it's going to ramp down anyway when I hit the reverse. It's going to hit really hard right here. So that's what can damage your motor. You don't want it doing that. That's not good. Not good at all when they hit hard like that. So if you're going to use the torque setting, you want to pay attention to your forward and reverse like that, because you don't want it hitting too hard like that. Now this motor is known for high torque application. That's what it's designed for. It's a farm duty motor. But right now I got the torque compensation set on 0. So when I hit the start button, don't do this. You can hurt your hand doing this. Right now it's set for, it don't really have that much starting torque, you can see. Once it comes up to speed, it's got, its normal torque, but I'm going to demonstrate what the what the torque setting actually does. I'm just going to put it on 1. Let's put it on 0.5. Okay. Now, when I hit the start button, it's got a little more torque to it. Now let me put it up on 1. Now I probably won't be able to hold on to it. I still can. We'll put it on 2 just to show you what it's doing. Now it's probably going to rip my hand out of it. Yep. You can't even stop it like that. But it depends on the application. You want to use this setting lightly. So you got to really pay attention to what you're doing with that setting, or you can really damage the motor. You can really damage the motor or the piece of equipment. But if this is belt driven or chain driven, if you get too much starting torque, you can actually break a belt or snap a chain, you know. But I can go on and on talking about this, but that's your main settings that you're going to be using on it all the time. You get 35 parameters altogether. But parameter 1, default display content, is what I was talking about right now. It's reading 60. But let me go ahead and set it on it, and we'll show you what it does. Okay, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's flashing 1755, 1755. Now it's going to give me a readout of the RPM that the motor's running. I set parameter 1 to 11,700. It goes from 0 to 30,000, I think. So 11,700 will give you 1755 readout. That number of programs is for this motor. So now it's showing 1755. Once the motor comes up to speed, that's what it's going to be running at. This is real handy. Like, say this is on a milling machine or a lathe, you need to calculate your RPM from all your gearing and everything. Now, let's say you need this motor to run at 2,000 RPM. Instead of reading the frequency, it's reading your RPM out. It's right at 2,000. We'll talk about this in a separate video. This is the actual readout. 2040 is what this is showing. It's real close. I mean, you can take this and get your reading and actually program it to, you know, right on what it's actually reading. Or suppose you need that motor to run at 500 RPM. Now you can take it down here. Now it's running at 500 RPM. It don't look like it, but you know, that's actually 500 RPM. It's actually 514 RPM according to my tach. Now I'll put it back on 1755, and they know it's going to be running at 60 Hertz. Now it's going to ramp down. It's actually going to give you a readout of the RPMs as the speed drops. That's kind of handy too. Well guys, this is going to be the end of the variable frequency drive video. I just wanted to cover the very basics on this to help you get started with it. There's a lot you can do with it. I'm just barely even touching on the subject really. The next video is going to be about rotary phase converters and phase rotation meters. And I found out the phase rotation meter, at least the one I got, don't want to work on the output of a variable frequency drive. I guess where there's different frequencies and stuff being mixed in, it's just not working right with it. But it does work with the true 3-phase power. So if you're interested in the rotary phase converter, using this motor to generate 3-phase power from single phase, stay tuned for the next video. So if you got any questions or comments about variable frequency drives, I'll try my best to answer them. I'm not an expert on it, but I know enough to get them going like you've seen here in this video, and I might be able to help you a little bit. I'll try, or at least point you in the right direction. Like I said, read your book. Pay attention to the book on it. Well, we'll catch you on the next video, so stay tuned for it. Thanks for watching, guys.